with former Ottawa 67's forward and superstar, Tye Felhaber. And first of all, Felly, how have you been dealing with the pandemic?
Oh, I've been honestly, I've been pretty good for me. Just been hanging out, hunting, and spending time with the family, and just kind of taking care of my body and just watching my nutrition. So, it's been good for me.
You're typically a social butterfly, like to get out and be around people. Have you found that difficult?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If I just didn't have my family here, like I live right next to my grandparents, that would be tough for me. But I mean, I get to see different people every day, kind of thing. So it's nice since they live so close, and I got a lot of cousins that live right around. So, I mean, that's kind of my social distancing.
Have you been binging any TV shows or anything?
No, honestly, I can't get into anything like I can't take anything seriously. I don't think like on TV. I'll watch Family Guy, I'll watch The Office, and then a couple comedies, but that's about it.
So no Tiger King. You stayed away from Tiger King?
You know what? I have watched a bit of Tiger
Okay.
King with my brother, but no, I haven't been super into that.
See, I figured that would have been right up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's pretty cool with all the tigers and stuff, but I mean, the whole story behind it is just nuts.
Okay, so I can't get your opinion on whether she killed her husband or anything.
Oh, I've heard a lot
Okay.
about that, and I think she killed her husband. I mean,
Okay.
well, she was saying something about sardine oil or something. If you want to get a tiger to eat somebody,
Absolutely, yeah.
laughs at the camera, and then um, they tried to put something on the exotic guy's shoes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's like, "No, this is what you do." She definitely killed her husband.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. What kind of workouts are you able to get done at home? What's keeping you in shape?
You know what? I got a big routine. So start off my day with a 5K run, and just to kind of stay healthy. Running's good for you at some way. So, and then I got a bunch of squat exercises and lunges exercises, a lot of holds that Dallas has been sending me to do right now, and just a lot of body weight stuff. I mean, honestly, I only got two 25-pound dumbbells, but I mean, if you want to pick up a block of wood and bench press that, you can, or whatever works, kind of thing.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to go in order. But at one point, you told me that the only thing you ever did was work out in the local hotel gym.
Yeah.
How that's not typical for a guy who was, I believe, at that time in his third or fourth year in the OHL. How did that come about?
I mean, I was really, really behind on all of that. Like, didn't know anything about it. So, 16, 17, 18-year-old year, I didn't really work out. I just went to the hotel gym, the Best Western in Pembroke, and just kind of, did whatever we wanted in the gym, and it was kind of fun. But I mean, it kind of showed on my on ice play why I was a little bit behind. And then 19-year-old year, I came in and Bear was there. Um, and who else was there? Norm Millie was there, and Mar was there. Like all of them were there. And then um, Coach Turney looked me in the eye and he said, "Look at like you gotta start working out. You gotta start taking this seriously. We're giving you an option to go with Tony Greco." And I ended up doing that and kind of saved my career, I think. And James Boyd was in there as well. And I honestly think if I didn't have that meeting, then I wouldn't be where I am today.
Before we move too far along, I do have a little surprise for you, make you feel a little bit more at home here. Let me just take this one off, show the great flow, and put this one on.
Oh, look
Yeah,
at that.
yeah, we'll get that going right there.
Unreal. Did Baller wear that one?
Yeah, but I lent this one to Baller last year, so
Yeah.
yeah,
You
he
better
may have,
wash that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. He may have stretched this out a little bit as well. Felly,
Real.
how did you start playing hockey?
Just my dad, usually on the pond or anything, he would just kind of take me out. I was probably 3 years old whenever we started. Just did a lot of outdoor skating, and then got into the half ice practices in Pembroke for IP. And my dad was always there. He always kind of coached me, and he was always the assistant coach kind of thing on whatever team. And he just kind of there, he could keep a good eye on me. I wasn't causing too much havoc there in those half ice practices. But no, he really just kind of helped me out. And then I had an older brother that was into it before me. He's 2 years older, so those two guys really helped me step into hockey.
Was it more like, was it you following in your brother's footsteps type of thing? Because he's playing at Div 3 right now in
Yeah.
the NCAA, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, as we were growing up, he just always made me a better player because he was 2 years older and he was just more mature. He would always beat me in every single puck battle. He'd always beat me in every single one-on-one game we would make an outdoor rink behind our house, and he would beat me at everything. And then slowly, as I got older, I would start winning and kind of have that. We always had that competitive edge to each other as soon as we hit the ice. But off the ice, we were, just like any other brothers. But I mean, on the ice, we were just out there to win and to compete. So I think that he really helped me, and I definitely did follow in his footsteps.
What was it like playing and growing up playing hockey in the Valley and in Pembroke?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you see you see all of your teammates back in the day. Like we were looking at a bunch of old pictures, and you're still buddy buddy with them today. 17 years later or whatever it is. So that I think that that's kind of the cool thing is the friendships. Not only myself, but also the parents. My dad's still really good friends with all the parents, and then whenever I went to the Ottawa Valley Titans, I got to meet a whole new whack of people as well that I still keep in contact with. And one of them I played with Mark Gowdy's son and Jackson Gowdy, and just like a friendship that really won't be broken. And that was years ago. So I think that was the coolest thing for me.
In your OHL draft year, playing minor midget, the biggest rivalry in the area was you and Will Bitton, and that was going to be who was the first one drafted out of the Ottawa area. How long did that rivalry last? And was it a friendly one? Was it a competitive one? What was the nature of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it still lasts today. Like we always like to compete, but I mean, after games, even in the AHL now, we'll chat and we'll have he'll give me some advice, I'll give him some advice, and we just kind of help each other out. And we were actually his younger brother Sam was sending me videos of me and Will playing Ottawa Riot back in the day as spring team, and just videos of us as line mates. Because in the summer we were always line mates, no matter how the winter went. We were always line mates in spring hockey. So I just created a good bond with all of the Bittons and their family, and getting to play with Sam was something special as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Was it awkward playing with him, or even in the spring hockey? Was it odd playing with Will?
No, I mean, right away we clicked. We had our plays that we would do, and we'd like to do a lot of cycles down low because I was kind of a little bit ahead of the time in that game, and we would just, we would honestly dominate in spring hockey, and it was so much fun to do that with him. And then for Sam, he was always best buddies with my older brother because they were always watching the games and coming to the tournaments, and so I got to know Sam as just I saw him grow up, and then to see him play in the OHL and do so well is awesome. And I'm just always wishing the best for him.
Now, on to the OHL draft day. What was that day like for you as you look back, 6 years ago now, as time absolutely flies by? What was that day like for you? Where were you? How did you find out that you were going to Saginaw?
Yeah, so we were all sitting in the family room, and we had it on on the big screen, and it's so funny looking back on it because we thought I was going to Niagara, so my mom has like the camera out, like the video camera, and that pick goes, and then I don't know who else is there. I mean, at that Plymouth, maybe I thought I was going to Plymouth, so mom had the video camera out. Thought I was going to Owen Sound, and then Peterborough. I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to go to Peterborough. And the 10th pick came around, and it was Saginaw. My mom put the camera away. She said we wouldn't go to them. And then they select me, and it was just like I was pumped to hear my name. Obviously, that's something that you look forward to. But then, I mean, my family kind of saw the logistics of it, that's the farthest team away. So it was kind of an awkward pause for about 2 minutes, and then My grandpa breaks the awkward silence, and just he doesn't know what what that kind of meant. So he just gave me a hug and made me smile. And I mean, looking back, it was a tougher day, but I mean, it's still cool to get your name called in the
Uh,
OHL.
the way that you're describing this, there was some hesitation and some pause for thought, at least as to whether you were going to go to Saginaw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that we didn't plan. Obviously, we told them we didn't want to go, and um, it was hard to deal with all that, especially at 16. But I'm glad I had such good parents to kind of take care of me. And looking back, I just think of it as if I didn't go there, maybe I wouldn't have gotten the chance to go to Ottawa. I mean, I learned a bit as a player there, but I mean, maybe if I didn't go there, I wouldn't get traded to Ottawa and learn everything that I've learned today there.
So you felt like maybe, or your family at least, felt like you fell a little bit in the draft. How high did you think that you could have gone?
I mean, I don't know. Like I was thinking anywhere from 6 to 12 area, and I just kind of that's what everybody tells you on Twitter and everything. And as a young kid, you believe it. So yeah, but I mean, it was kind of a tough day. It was very tough because Saginaw, it was a great place, and it was good to I met a lot of good people there, but I mean it wasn't the organization that was giving me the opportunity. And that's why I always look at it like everything happens for a reason, because I don't if I went there, I don't get traded to Ottawa, I don't meet Coach Turney and Norm Milley, Mar, all of those guys, Austin Keating, Kamaleski. Like I don't meet all of those guys if I didn't go there. So I'm just kind of grateful of how it all worked out.
So why did you decide to go to Saginaw in the end?
So just a young kid, just was hearing all the reports and just kind of wanted to play, and didn't really want to play junior A. Looking back, I think that that's a good option. That would have been a good option, but just a young kid, just pressured into it, and I just wanted to kind of play in the OHL, and if that was the only place that I could play, I was going to play.
And your first year, you performed very well. 20 goals, 37 points, very good for a 16-year-old rookie. Why? How did you have so much success in that first year, especially?
I think honestly, because of the vets in that room, I played with a lot of great guys. Nick Mutry was my line mate, and I still play against him now in the AHL. And um, he got traded halfway through the year, but he really got my confidence going, and got my offensive touch right away going. And I had guys like Connor Brown, um, just older guys that were really taking care of me and just showing me the ways. That's why anytime there's a young guy coming in, well, into the OHL, I would just try and make sure he was comfortable and happy, because that can make the world of a difference if you're in a comfortable environment.
And how were you able to adapt to life in Saginaw? Slightly different, I'm sure, than Pembroke.
Yeah, no, I had great billets there, and I actually lived with Keaton Middleton, Jake Middleton's younger brother, and we just kind of hung out and bonded and did everything, just played pool. And they had a really good setup for us there at that billet house, but I mean, I didn't go outside into the city too much.
On to your second year, that was maybe the year that you took a step back a little bit. You picked up one more point in that year, but was there a big difference between year one and year two?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that honestly, I think that maybe the plan with me changed. I don't know, because I played a lot more in my 16-year-old year than I did in my 17-year-old year. And and looking back at it though, it's I always try and take a positive from it. Maybe it was just that adversity that I need to go through to kind of excel in the later years.
Did you feel any added pressure with it being your NHL draft year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, you just kind of expect to get drafted if you're doing well as a 16-year-old, and then you come in as a 17-year-old. And um it was a lot of pressure, especially at that age. And I mean, nowadays with all the social media, you hear everything going on, and why am I not ranked here and there? And at the end of the day, it's just it's something that's out of your control. The only thing you control is how you play on the ice. But all of those rankings and stuff, I think that, you just need to take a step back and just kind of be happy with yourself and just kind of work hard. And if you're working hard and putting the work in, something will work out for you.
And I do want to jump back to your 16-year-old year and representing Canada at the U17s and what that experience was like to put on the Maple Leaf.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was a really cool experience, and you just kind of learned how serious to take it, and just do the Canadian way, and just how professional the Canadians are there. And I think they do it a lot better than a lot of countries, and they just kind of train young kids to be good, mature young adults. Um, and also too, what I looked at it was I got to meet so many people that I still keep in contact with, a lot of Western guys and everything, and just friendships that you made over that week kind of still last.
How disappointing was it after your second year in Saginaw to go through the NHL draft and not be selected?
Yeah, that was really hard for me. Um, just the whole day I watched every single pick go through, and you're looking at it and you're like, I think I could have been that pick, or I could have been that pick, or I could have been this guy. And but then right after the draft, I got a call from Kyle Dubas, and he invited me to the camp, and he gave me a good opportunity to show my skill in front of the Maple Leafs. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, what was that whole thing like? Because that could have gone, well, one of two ways, where you go into, I don't know whether depression is the right word, or you use it as motivation, and it seemed like you used it at least as motivation to start with there.
Yeah, I thought that was an amazing camp. They have like such a good organization, obviously. But just again, like I look back at the people that I met there, and it was like I was in a room. We had our joint hotel rooms, and I was with Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Adam Brooks, and just hanging out with those guys. Everything was pretty normal. We would just play some PlayStation and just kind of hang out, go to the mall, and that was going into the year before they all got super super big, and but they're just normal guys. And again, just the friendships that I made in that week that I still keep in contact with, which is pretty cool.
All right, let's move along. Third year, big year for you. The trade to Ottawa, was that something that you were looking for, or was it just a matter of getting a fresh start anywhere, and Ottawa just happened to be the place that you landed?
You know what? I mean, anywhere was yeah, I would have went anywhere, but I was really pushing for Ottawa. I think that Ottawa was kind of looking for me, and Jeff Brown was the coach at the time, and he was the one that traded for me, and he helped me, get my feet wet in Ottawa. So I think that was a huge trade for me.
And the only time that you really missed any sort of games was that broken wrist that you suffered in that year. How tough was it to sit out those, I think, what, 15 games that you missed?
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, so you're trying to get drafted because you're still in the draft, and I finally get my trade, and things are going really well. Get my first hat trick with the team, and I'm starting to get my mojo back, and then break my wrist, and that was tough to come back from, um, especially missing those games. And we were so tight for the playoff spot, and then we ended up dropping to 8th seed, and um, I think I pushed it coming back a little early just to try and secure our spot in playoffs and play in that playoff series. But definitely wasn't 100%, and just kind of, but you can't say anything at that time, right? And so there's all these scouts there in Toronto and Mississauga, like, and you just want to show well, but I mean, they don't know how painful you're with the pain you're going through. So that was very tough for me.
How much of a confidence boost did you get from that deal, and just confidence and being closer to home? How much did that help you out?
I think that it helped me out drastically. Like, just one thing is the confidence, but the thing, like, close to home, just in Ottawa and the Ottawa Valley, like, I just realized how many supporters I had and how many people were always there for me, watch my games, and just kind of cheering me on and just with me through the whole process. And I mean, they were doing that in Saginaw, but it was just they were watching on the TV. But I didn't really realize how much everybody here in the Valley was really supporting me and cheering me on. So that was just something that really turned my career around.
Breakout year in your 19-year-old year, 70 points. How big of an impact did you've mentioned them the entire coaching staff already, but how big of an impact did they have on you and helping you reach that next step?
Uh, that was it was the best thing for us, for myself, with Coach Turney. Dude, that staff there just really cares about their players, and I mean, for them to take a guy like me that hasn't really proved himself, and they just saw something in me that not a lot of people saw, and they just developed me into an overall good player and a better person. I think that they taught me how to act off the ice, especially in a team environment and anytime you're representing the team. But that whole staff there, they just have so many dynamics. Mar likes to really teach on certain things that'll help, especially on the D man, but they will really help you with certain things during the game. And then Norm is just, I mean, I still keep in contact with Norm, probably monthly over this whole season and over this whole year, and just got off the phone with him like a couple days ago. And he's just somebody there that's seen so much and been through so much in his career, and he can really show you the ins and outs of what to do and what not to do. And then Coach Turney's just best coach that I've played for, and he again he's the one that saw something in me and changed my whole career around.
At the end of that season, after being eliminated by Hamilton, you went to the AHL with the Laval Rockets. How much did that help with just getting some more experience and getting a taste of pro hockey?
It was awesome. I think that you after everybody's getting their calls, like after the playoffs are over, and then I finally got mine, and it was a really good experience to go there and just to learn what the pro life's a little bit like. And I mean, it was a tough situation to go on because I believe they're in last, but I enjoyed it, and I had my family there, watched my first couple AHL games. So it was a cool experience.
All right, on to the season that everybody wants to talk about, your overage season, 59 goals. At what point did you think that, all right, we're getting on a roll here and we're going to really start going?
I think it happened right in the summer. I was just working really hard and just really committed because I didn't. But the biggest thing that motivated me was I didn't get a single call from a team that wanted me at their camp. And um, I think that there was maybe 14 or 15 players on our team alone that were going to camps. So I kind of stayed there for those whole 2 weeks where everybody was at camp, and that's what really kind of it made me mad, but it really motivated me. And I think that me not getting a camp going into my overage year put the realization in my eyes, if I don't do it this year, then who knows where I'll be. So I think it was right at that moment where I officially did not get contacted by a single team to go to their camp.
And you played with various players throughout the year, but is there one guy who really, I don't want to say helped you, but you meshed with right away?
Yeah, I just obviously the Keating and Rossi. I mean, that was just a fun line to be on. We just saw each other so well, and I mean, that was such a fun line to play with, and I clicked with those guys right away. And I think we got thrown together in North Bay when things weren't going well, and stuck together ever since. And that was amazing. Like, just to play with those two guys was absolutely amazing. And for Marco to be so young, and he was kind of the calming presence on that line. And then Keats was the best playmaker I've seen, smartest player. He just read everything, and they made my job pretty easy. And then also a guy that really helped me was Sasha Chmelevski, because I think that we have two different personalities, but two but kind of the same as well at the same time, where we both really want to win. We both want to compete, but he's a little bit more serious off the ice. But he really helped me, and just kind of, just through every day, we always had a plan of what we wanted to do with our guys, and kind of took a leadership role. And, I mean, there's numerous amounts of guys on that team that I could say good things about. Hoffy on the back end, he was just unreal guy to calm down that presence on the back end. But there's just so many guys that has helped me out.
As the season went along, well, you were the only overager until the trade deadline when Kyle Maximovich and Lucas Chiodo were picked up. How big of a help were those two guys to not only leadership, because you guys had a lot of leaders in the room, but just, again, with the depth and helping you guys into what ended up being a long playoff run?
Oh, those guys were the best. They were unbelievable. We first got Maximovich and took him out to lunch to Whole Foods for a big old burrito, and then we get a call saying that we traded for Chiodo, and I always saw him on the ice, and he was always like really skilled and really good, but I just didn't know what he'd be like as a guy. And then, I mean, me, Chico, and Maxi hung out probably 4 nights a week at their billets at Dee Dee's house. We hung out at their billets all the time, and we just kind of meshed, and we were the OA gang. So they were a really big help, though, on and off the ice. They're great guys with the teammates. On the ice, they were just so skillful, made plays, but the biggest thing was off the ice. They really brought our team together.
All right, Philly, on to the playoffs, because that was a memorable run. Unfortunately, stopped short. 14 straight wins, but what to you stands out most from that run?
I think, I think the two, for the in-games, I think the two overtime wins, I think the Sudbury one was pretty wild, and that was a lot of fun just to go, and I think it was triple overtime. And I actually, before we scored pretty early in the third OT, but before the third OT, everybody's gassed, but I really had to take a number 2. And so I was on the toilet, and the boys were already going out to go for the third overtime. And so I just squeezed one quick and run out and just get out there for puck drop. So my mind was kind of everywhere, and then we ended up scoring, and just celebrating with the guys was unreal. And then that Oshawa game, I think that just kind of summarized our whole 2 years in Ottawa with that coaching staff, was that the no quit, because we were down 1-0, even though we were up 3-0 in the series. But we get that 5-on-3 score, 1-1, and then we go into intermission. We know we're scoring right away on that power play because we still had a bit of time left, and celebrating with the guys there. Those are the two memorable moments. But also just all the card games we got to play on the bus, and we were always together, and staff always had stuff set up for us so well.
Okay, I got to go back to Sudbury, because that's a
Oh,
story
yeah.
and a half right there.
Yeah.
So everybody else was eating Swiss Chalet in between periods 2 and 3. I'm assuming you didn't take part because you had something else to do.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know. Some people were eating bread, some people were eating pieces of chicken, but yeah, I had something to do, and I'm glad finished up quick and got out there.
And on to Oshawa, that overtime winner. You scored 2 game-winning goals, and they both happened to be overtime winner, series clinchers. The one thing that I'll always remember from that one is you doing an on-ice interview after you get the cup or the trophy, and you pointing up to me in the broadcast booth. That's something that I'll always remember. But the other thing that I think a lot of people remember is the social media, with you going into the room and water bottles spraying all over the place. How much fun was that to be a part of?
That was amazing, and I got to give the point to the voice of the Ottawa 67s. I mean, you seen every game, and you just watched us, stuck with it through the whole process, and just to see us rewarding. So definitely had to give you that point. But and then in the room, I mean, I knew all the boys were waiting, and I knew something was happening. So I walk in, and I just look around the corner, and Sean Young actually takes off. The only reason I still have my Eastern Champions hat is because Sean Young took it off with me as I went into the Gatorade and all the party, and that was just you can't describe that feeling. It was just absolutely amazing. And I mean, even though it's just the Eastern Conference, we worked so hard, and so many guys in that room have been with that organization for a long time, and it's just a really special time.
I also have to ask about the lads. You and Jared Stay. A little bit we did on TSN 1200
Oh
called The
yeah.
Lads, and I just gave you guys the microphone, and away you went. Was that something that you enjoyed doing? Was it something you look forward to, planned out, or was it just off the cuff?
Absolutely loved it. I mean, you just gave us the freedom, and that's all we ask in our producers, right? It's just to give us some freedom. And it's Jared is just so funny. And I think we only did 2 or 3, but I think maybe we need to get your phone and bring it into one of the shacks this summer, and we could go off for another episode of the Lads. We might have to contact that guy. Who knows where he is right now? But
Yeah, it'd be interesting. That'd be for sure. All right, on to pro hockey, Ty. You know what? Before we get there, how did you end up signing with Dallas,
um,
and the whole process that went into that?
so yeah, no, it was a cool process. I had a lot of meetings with a lot of different teams, and I always left never. I was always confident in my answers, and that's just who I am. Who I am is who I am, and I just like kind of told it how it is. And I always left meetings wondering if that guy liked me or not. Did he like me? Did he not? And then had a meeting with a bunch of teams, and then ended up getting a call from Dallas, and I had never met with them, never spoke to them, and it was with the GM, Jim Nell, and he called me and just kind of almost convinced me to come to sign with Dallas, and didn't try and uh, say what he has of doubts as me as a player. And in every interview, they say, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Like, we know we need to work on that, but we want to kind of have a conversation. I want to learn what you guys are as an organization, and you guys want to learn what I am as a person. And I think that Jim Nill is so good at that. He's just such a personable guy, and he just kind of sold me on going to Dallas, and just showed me how I would fit in there, and how we would really be excited to have you. And just also the lifestyle in Texas is absolutely amazing. So he just called me and kind of convinced me. And then the next day, I went into with my agent, Andy Scott, and signed the papers.
How was the first year of professional hockey? Maybe a little bit of a blip in the road, sent down to the ECHL, but right back up after 6 games. Overall, how was the year?
I think it was the biggest learning experience of my life. It was an amazing year, and people wouldn't really expect me to say that with my numbers that were going on. And but that everybody tells you your first year pro is always your hardest. First year pro is always your hardest, and I just kind of blocked that out. But it truly was. It was a mental grind. It was a physical grind. You're playing against men. There's no room out there. If you have the puck for half a second, there's a guy on you. It's completely different from junior, in a sense of how structured defensively it is, I think. And the back pressure is the biggest thing. Coach Turney would always tell me the back pressure. And then I really got to feel what the back pressure was in the AHL. But I just saw, though, we had guys coming down from the NHL just on conditioning stints here and there, and I saw what it takes to be an NHL player, and how you got to take care of your body, but also just every preparation that goes into everything. And even after practice, the whole team is always working on skills. Nobody's rushing to get off the ice. You're out there for at least a half an hour, 45 minutes extra, and that's only up to you. There's no obligation to stay on, but everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to work on things. So even though I didn't play all of the games those days that I wasn't playing, I was bag skating myself. I was working on my hands, working on my shot, working on pucks rimming, like just all different stuff that you wouldn't really think to work on. That's what they wanted you to work on as well, which was pretty cool.
So the on ice was it's an adjustment
Oh
for
yeah,
certain.
it's a huge adjustment. Yeah.
How was off the ice? I'm assuming that was a little bit of an adjustment as well.
Oh yeah, it was, the climate change. You get off the plane in late August and you think you're breathing in a sauna. It's really hot, but I mean, it was crazy. No snow where I was living, and I was golfing all year round. I got big into golf. Had a bunch of teammates that we would go golfing maybe 3 times a week. We'd have like 3-week homestands. We'd go on road trips, and on the road trips off the ice was so fun because you're on your own for everything except for pregame meal. So we would always go out to dinner, like fancy steakhouses, and the boys would get like a bottle of wine or whatever, and it was just such a fun time to be away from the rink as well, because you have such a life away from the rink where you're not, because it's so stressful. You don't have to think about hockey all the time. You want to do other stuff. And I got a lot of guys on that room that showed me around Austin, and the city itself is amazing. They got the university there, the Texas Longhorns University. That's right where I am. I'm about 5 minutes from there, and they got all of their bars are outdoor bars. So it's like 5 streets of just outdoor bars, and it's amazing. And I got to meet a lot of people that go to school at UT. So that was pretty fun. And I mean, the whole lifestyle was amazing though.
Okay, I saw your golf game before the start of the 18-19 season. It was lackluster to say the least. Are you any better now?
Yeah, so honestly, then I was shooting probably 120.
Generously, yeah.
Yeah, like over hundreds every time. And then now I got usually shooting anywhere from 81 to 85, 86. So I've really been working on it, and I got a new driver, invested in my game, got new golf shoes. They helped tremendously. I think it was
Bare
just
feet aren't the way to go.
hey,
Bare feet aren't the way to go.
that's only when you're golfing in the valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, once all this wraps up, we'll have to get out on the course.
would love that.
How's your cooking skill coming along? Because that's one big thing about moving out on your own.
Yeah, so boys would get takeout a lot, but so what we did was we'd have one guy on our team that, well, not on our whole team, but in our apartment complex that would cook. And he was the goalie, Jake Ottinger. He would cook for 5 of us, and we would pay him $10, and we'd have just unbelievable meals. So I didn't really learn how to cook, but with this quarantine going on, stuck with Mother there, and she's teaching me a little bit how to cook, and she's trying to force me to cook at least 4 dishes. So I think I'm gonna surprise her on Mother's Day with a nice home cooked meal, but might be cut up hot dogs and mac and cheese. But I mean,
Still a meal.
it's the thought that counts, right?
Absolutely. Well, Ty, appreciate the time, and once all this is over, looking forward to seeing you back out on the ice.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Kenny.